I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. It is a very busy weekend, and we had a very busy week last week. At the board meeting, oh my gosh, I won't even go through everything. There was so much that we got through. We did need to express our condolences to Chief Pittman. His mother passed away a little over a week ago, so we're very sorry about that. Let's see here. The board made appointments to a new mosquito control advisory committee. Ken Giles and Mr. Charles Stott were appointed to that. There was an acceptance of a gift of $200 from the Cape Cod 5-cent Savings Bank to help offset expenses from the Island Fair, which was 2 weeks ago. A couple other general administrative things of little interest to anybody except for those involved. Most importantly, we talked about the timeline for the fiscal 13 budget and the 2012 annual town meeting. And I went through some dates with the board. I may have done that a little in too much detail because I noticed that there was some dozing off. Not dozing off. Some eyes glazing over, which I suppose mine would too if I wasn't riveted. Like, of course, I'm riveted. And let me remind people, 2012 annual town meeting will start on Saturday, March 31st. A Saturday. We are trying it out. It is the grand experiment. If you have thoughts or ideas about how to make it successful, it will start at 9 o'clock in the morning and go till noon, and then go from 2 to 5.
Ooh.
If we're getting a little group together to make sure that it'll run smoothly and have activities for kids and things during the day. So if you have any thoughts or ideas, I would love to hear them. Please email them to me. My email address is on the town website, www.nantucket-ma.gov. I also reviewed with the board fiscal 13 general fund capital project recommendations. I should have brought my information out here, but we have around $16-ish million worth of capital requests. We are recommending around, rough numbers, 12 million of them. There are some big ticket items in there, between 4.5 and maybe 6 million-ish in renovations for the 20 South Water Street building, the old police station. There is about 3.5 million of stormwater drainage improvements. There is a wind turbine, which is not even calculated in yet, because we don't have a number quite yet, and that's likely to be a standalone item. There is $1.5 million for Hummock Pond Road bike path. That would be phase 1 and 2, not 3, so we have to decide whether or not we're going to work in 3. There's some private donation discussion going on at the moment, so more to follow on all of this, but that's coming up. We also we reviewed the fiscal 13 general fund budget projection. Nothing overly alarming. Times are still tight. We're still being very conservative and very careful with our spending. So that was kind of the theme. Boo! I don't know who that is. Little children do that all the time.
They do.
I don't know. Very ill-behaved children. We also talked about a letter to the post office regarding the possible closure of the Mid-Island post office. There's been a lot of discussion about this. The board agrees, as does town administration, that the closure of that post office would not be good for our community. And it is a necessary post office here.
Poor. I can't imagine that closing.
I don't know how many boxes.
What are we going to do? Everybody's going to come downtown now? They're going to try to find a place to park?
Exactly. It's crazy. So that is an ongoing discussion.
Unless you made the one at the very end, near the airport, that would be the one.
I guess, but this one's already set up.
I know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Anyway, the person who's spearheading this effort is Lynn Walsh, and we are getting a letter together, and we'll put it on our website to give people ideas about what they might. Are they climbing that tree?
Well, he is.
Okay, that's your kid, not
mine.
mine.
No, he's all right.
Mine's probably out in the street by now. In any event, we'll post it on the website, and people can look at it to get ideas for letters they might want to write. Another good point that was made about this Mid-Island post office potential closure was it's the only handicapped accessible post office. Downtown is not handicapped accessible, so it would be a problem. We also talked about comments to a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service draft comprehensive conservation plan regarding Great Point Nantucket National Wildlife Refuge. This caused some discussion, and there are a lot of the plan. I think we posted on the website, the draft plan. There are some alarming things in it that we are concerned about. Namely, for example, one of the proposals was that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife take over the management of the town's beaches where endangered species are involved. That would essentially mean outright closure, totally,
wow.
when these birds are present.
Okay, I was over there. with
Okay,
his
your
friend.
kid's in the road,
Yeah,
not mine, yet.
He's talking to his friend, his parents are there.
Okay, good. So we talked about that, and we're getting a letter together. It probably is together by now and sent out. Next week, October 5th, ribbon cutting ceremony for extension of Cliff Road Bike Path. Saturday, October 8th, 9 a.m. at the intersection of Cliff Road and Sherburne Turnpike. That ought to be fun. More gifts for our island home. The board will be making an appointment, as anticipated now anyway, to the Airport Commission. Planning office has a couple things. Public hearing to consider applications for the Cemetery Commission. This is a newish group that was recently approved by special legislation. We didn't get that many applications, so if you're interested, please apply. We're also getting a wastewater action plan update and a status review of the 2011-2012 Board of Selectmen goals, and reviewing pending home rule petitions for next year's town meeting, the ones that we haven't been acted upon yet, to see if the board wants to continue pursuing them. So, Gino, I went on a little road trip this week. On Thursday, myself, Assistant Town Manager Greg Tivnan, and Procurement Officer Diane O'Neill went to, first of all, in the morning, we went to the town of Harwich. They were sponsoring a demo of permitting software by a vendor. There's an effort going on that's spearheaded by the town of Yarmouth to obtain some permitting software for all towns who wish to participate, so that there's one software program on a regional basis. That's the intent.
I see.
So we went over to look at just one of the vendors.
I see.
We actually thought they had picked one, and they were showing it, but it just was a vendor. They haven't even
Why
done an
would you need
RFP.
that? What's the real benefit of that?
Well, the real benefit is cost. If it's jointly purchased by, say, 15 towns on the Cape and us, we're invited to participate, even other towns off Cape. The cost savings is huge, and if you can get a really good product with everybody contributing a little bit rather than each town
Well, do you have
spending.
to buy software every year?
No. This is software we don't really have right now. It's not really in place. It's very piecemeal, and a lot of towns are looking at central permitting on the web, on the internet. You would apply for and obtain your permit through the internet. So we're all looking at it. It doesn't make sense for all of us to spend $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 to each buy it when we could spend that collectively and all have a really good product.
Right.
So we're looking at that. We did that in the morning, and in the afternoon we visited with our architect for 20 South Water. That was a very good meeting. We got a lot done. So we were pleased with that. And then Diane and Greg came back, and I stayed. And on Friday, the assessor, Debbie Dorworth, and I went to a municipal law update sponsored by the Department of Revenue. This is an annual event, conference. This year it was in Randolph, Mass. Probably it's there every year. I haven't been for a couple of years. So that was interesting too.